Well, what's going on, guys? David here, and I bringing to you today just a simple, short and sweet video how to connect an MCP server, Model Context Protocol, with an actual HTTP API, so you can send the response and requests to an actual web front end rather than just working on like your terminal or in some type of Claude desktop app or something like that. So I looked through the internet. I didn't find any videos on this, so I thought I might do it. So in essence, what we'll learn to do today in a very quick fashion is just set up an API endpoint, let's call it chat, where you can ask something. You'll also do what's the weather in California. And what we'll get out is just this will actually call now the MCP server that I set up, and this will make obviously this is a Swagger UI, so this would work as a curl request or as a fetch request, and you'll get a response. You can also stream this and do other things, but today we'll just keep it simple and have request response. You can put a messages array. So what I did was I went into this website. I'll link in the description, and I just read through these docs and I copy pasted this simple start server. So it's it's kind of a MCP server where you can chat with a weather API. So I just started running this server, and I set up the client in a similar way. Just like got the .env set up and everything here. So I just set up a simple client server where the client is in a chat loop, and it just calls the when you need, it calls the weather APIs for the MCP server, so it knows the context. But what you can see here is this is a Python file, and it has this input and strip. So what this means is it's just using the terminal. So who the hell wants to use the terminal? So I thought we'd level this up. So let's get cracking. So what we have is, I'll zoom in a little bit and do like this. So I simply copy pasted all of the server code that they provided. So they provided weather API, and it calls some government weather website, whatever, yada yada. And I just copy pasted the code from the website. So we have the MCP protocol server. So it's defined all the tools. And this you can define your own tools, right? Similar fashion. And I then just copy pasted all of the client code that they provided. And I realized that we have this, they provide this chat loop. Okay, we don't want this chat loop. This is for obviously to do it in the terminal. So I'll just delete the chat loop, and then I instead define this chat endpoint. By the way, code will be in the description, so you don't have to take note of that. I'll just describe it here. So the chat, it instead just takes a messages array, and it processes the query with an array of messages. So it will enable a chat history. Then it just calls the Claude API, Claude 3.5, and it just basically does the same thing that this is just copy paste boilerplate code from the website I just referenced. And then finally, I just set up a app.py file, which I like FastAPI for my API endpoints, but you can also just use Flask or whatever. It doesn't matter. So I just set up this thing. It just starts up the server. It shuts down the server when it ends. And at the start of the server, when you start it, it connects to the MCP server, and in the chat API endpoint, it just takes your request of messages array and calls the chat endpoint for the MCP server and just delivers the response. So basically, this is very simple stuff, but I thought maybe this part was the one that took some time for me to figure out how to asynchronously start the server. And here's the server, or client or whatever, and we just load the .env. So in this .env, I have my Anthropic API key, which I won't share with you. But so, and to get the server running, you can, I believe, use any kind of, there's a lot of frameworks you can use to run your server, but I'll use Uvicorn here, which I have installed in my Python environment. I'll just do app, bind it to app.py because that's the name, and then I'll do dash dash reload because I like to have it upload automatically. Then I'll do port 8000. Let's say do port 8000. Then you can see it says it has the list of tool requests, it has get alerts and get forecasts, and basically now we're back where we started. So you can go here, you can go to the /docs, which is the Swagger UI, and then you can do call the chat here. What's the weather in Wisconsin or whatever? I'm not from the US, so I'm not too sure, but this should then so this you can now connect to your let's say React front end or whatever, and it should work out of the box. So thanks for that, guys. Code will be in the description. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. Until next time, bye.